Paychex, Insperity, Trinet, whatever. You know, really the only one that's going to come in heavy right here in your size company is ADP. We don't know if that's good or whatever, but we'll find out. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. We'll collaborate with you. We'll help you build it. You're going to know what to do. The math will show us what to do. The systems will show us what to do. What I'm saying is, do your diligence. What I want from what I'm going to ask you for is I'm going to ask you for your executive sponsorship. I'm going to ask you for time. I'm going to ask you for access to information. I'm going to ask you for a venue to come back with just you and me and share with you my findings. Here's what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you the power and the weight of ADP. I'm going to give you solutions consultants. I'm going to give you my experience. We're going to benchmark. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And we're going to find this out. We're going to help you. We're going to give all this, but we're not going to do it unless you give us those things. But you know, I want you to think about this for a minute. Sometimes like, well, I don't know if we have time for analysis. No, what you don't have time to do is implement the wrong shit for 6 months and then try to fix it. That's what you don't have time to do. Right? And think about what's happening here. I'm a salesperson that just showed up, and you're telling me it's time to go, we got to fix this, and I'm telling you, slow down. Relax. Take your time. Do it right. Measure twice, cut once. Right? And then you have a lot of options. So, here's how the process works. Here's what we like to do. Here's what we want to go through. Okay? Here's the thing. You're going to go 50 first calls. Whatever. What I just showed you will work 5 or 10 times. Maybe more, maybe less. Depends on how good you get at it and whatever. But the difference between selling $1 million to $1.5 million a year and selling 500 to 600 a year is doing big deals. You can't sell $1 million doing $30,000 commodity bullshit deals. First of all, you don't have enough accounts. Let's be honest. You don't have enough time. So when you get one that's like, we believe in it, we love what you're saying from a diligence perspective, we know we need to do this, let's go in, let's slow down, let's take a look at this. Are they going to do this with everybody? No. Are you going to have an opportunity to do your relationship building and get to know the company? All the other 3 vendors in September, they're going to be done presenting, demoing, having a proposal in September. When do you finish your diligence? End of October? What do you surface out? What do you uncover that they got to go back and keep asking the other vendors for more information on or whatever because you found this and you found this and you found this? And then when you're doing your demo, it's not like, look at all the cool stuff we did. It's like, hey, you know what? Sally, remember when we were talking about that thing and you said this and that and da-da-da and whatever, and you know, here's your process? Watch this. Boom, 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 boom. See that? Remember how we said you had this problem here? Watch this. Right? And so all the while, I'm doing this, but then I'm going back to the executive, right? And I'm saying, I'm justifying this, because what have I done? First of all, I've got his revenue strategy, I know where he's going to go, and I know the problems to get him there, and I'm going to show him how to get there. So I have his emotion, right? Then I've set the frame for getting him off of the invoice, getting him off of just the G&A cost, but looking at the overall dollar, tax credits, UCM, labor, total labor management, benefit management, whatever, I've set it, right? And then I get my diligence and I build my case, and then now we have a better ROI and it's feasible. And then I go in and do kind of what Tricia was saying, which is like win hearts and minds along the way with the payroll, HR department, whatever, right? And get them on board. Don't always do all this. Sometimes when I'm going to the HR department, I might just do butterfly and silence. When I do that, they start wiggling around in their chairs because they're thinking about all the shit they got to do. Right? But that's where this stuff starts coming in, and when you get these big ones and you make it happen, that's how you do the big, heavy, heavy numbers. And your analysis is not an hour. I mean, the ones that I don't, Jeff, I don't know what you do, but one, you know, I know I talked to you yesterday about it, but the ones that I'm doing the big deals, I may do, if I get somebody who's like, yeah, that's great, I get it, we need to do that, that's the right way to do it, we appreciate your approach, this is awesome. I may do 8 analysis. If it's 600 people, I may spend an hour and a half defining every process on onboarding. I may spend 2 hours going through every minute detail of timekeeping. I may spend an hour with payroll. I may spend 3 hours in HR understanding all the data movements, all the things they want to do. I may spend an hour with tax credits. I may spend an hour with the IT department understanding all the data flow points and integration points in and out. I want to get it all because I'm building ROI. I'm making sure I don't have any issues. I'm hedging my no starts. By the way, so I have 1.54 million. I finished my gross, if you go to Oracle, my gross sales and my net sales were $17,000 different. Okay? Because I'm setting the right expectations and I'm doing my diligence. And I've got them all bought in. But you know, kind of back to what I'm talking about, these options, these things, at ADP we have really 2, as I see it, maybe 3 differential advantages. It's not our technology. As you see when you get in with Paylocity, you're like, I don't really see a difference, and they're less money, and I'm just going to do that, right? It's not ACA, because I hope to God you're not trying to be an ACA consultant, because you're going to get hammered, right? So you learn how to talk around that. It's not, it might be our brand. Like I said the other day, the greatest thing about ADP is everyone knows what you do. The worst thing about ADP is everyone thinks they know what you do, right? In all of our history. Our differential advantage, you have complete control of. One is that regardless of what the answer is, by the way, you can't really control this. You can influence it. Because everybody else is going to be fighting it too. Regardless of what the answer is, we've got a solution. So that's number 1. And our approach to this business is unique. Our approach of diligence, our approach of having all these different options, our ability to go in and have the tenure we have with the SCs and the whatever is unique. Everybody else is running through it. Everybody else is going fast. Everybody is whiz bang sizzle, right? And we're telling them, okay? When you do this, by the way, when you go do it, and you start doing some of this, some of them won't do it. A couple things. One, you're either not at the right level. Sometimes. Sometimes they just don't care. Guess what? That's okay. Because you know what I'm doing? Cut it, 40% off, demo, boom, use everything I have, use the network, go tax credits, whatever, try to close it, get it out there, don't worry about it, right? So if you think about you guys' territories, okay, you've probably got around 150 accounts, roughly. In those accounts, you're going to have, depending on your region and whatever, you're going to have 20 to 30 deals that are $100,000 plus deals in that 150. And then you're going to have 50 to 70 middle deals, 30,000 to 75,000. That's all they're ever going to be. Then you're going to have 50 to 60, either 30,000 or lower, or no deal. Construction, restaurants, you know, whatever, right? And you can still get some of those, but for the most part. The difference between the A top producers and everybody else is the A's get the 3 or 4 big ones a year and then subsidize with the middle ones. 3 to 4 big ones, 5 to 7 middle ones, a couple more subsidies down at the bottom. The B's get 1 to 2 big ones, maybe. 7 to 12, 15 middle ones, and a few little ones. The C's get no big ones. Some middle ones. And waste a lot of time in the little ones. Right? So, the thing is when you get a big one, you need to get it. And you have to win it. And the only way to win is to build it. And so that's the first call. get from you guys, I know I want to make this interactive. I know I just kind of went off on it like a total filibuster here. I apologize. Give me, thoughts, questions.
I say most of the people kind of stay on the right side, actual side to sell things.
Listen, right. Feature functionality, product.
Where we can differentiate ourselves is exactly what you said, stay strategic and outline it to the CFO and differentiate ourselves.
And stay on the top line. Tie us to the top, tie us to the business. What else? Yeah.
You've done this, you've won everything, you're ready to go to that analysis. How do you manage that analysis with your SC? There's, you talked about possibly 8 analyses you may end up doing. Flesh that out a little bit.
So for me, when I get a big one, I want my SC to be involved as much as I can or as much as they're available. Right now, I'm not asking them to demo 40 deals either. So I'm like, here's the opportunity. A lot of SCs, what they're asking you is like, did you have a first call? Did you do an analysis? Did you, they're kind of like really want to know. They want you to follow this process, and a lot of times we're not. If they think you're following the process, they're going to be engaged, and they're going to want to be a part of it. So what I'll try to do is bring them in as best I can. I'll try to stack these meetings. It may be that I do 4, but what 4 looks like is like a whole half day. So I like, and it's because different people. So I'll bring in the recruiting people, then I'll bring in the payroll people, then I'll bring in the time people, then I'll bring in the HR people, and I'll stack them. Right? And I'll knock a half day out. Or maybe I'll walk a full day out. Or maybe depending on the opportunity, I'll knock 2 days out. Right? But the other thing is, like, if you're going to take out headcount, you better damn well do an analysis. Right? See, and so, the other thing on the PTO, guys, something real quick here, on the 6 buyer profiles, I get mixed bag on that. People, I put that together, I wrote that part. And people are like, well, that's everybody. Not true. But the reason the 6 buyer profiles are the 6 buyer profiles is a very specific reason. Does anybody know, I haven't asked you before, does anybody know what it is? What is the common denominator between those 6 situations?
Change.
Trigger,
Except the money. It's the money. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've dealt. Every company I've ever met was broken. Doesn't mean they're competent. Broken, no, they're broken, willing to fix it, whatever. Every single situation on those 6 buyer profiles, they're either already spending the money or they're going to. And enough volume to justify the deal. Okay? So we're talking about that. What else? Questions?
We have a few minutes for questions, and we're going to break for lunch. All right, so
Anything else?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, so it sounds like you're doing this, this year, the ER that you do all the time. I'm just curious, like, what, so you got a meeting next week with the CFO, and, I've been calling for the last year, I was just, I'll finally meet with you. And so you're going in and you're just going straight to this, right?
I'm asking about his business.
Right.
And understanding what they're doing, yeah, absolutely. I want to know what he's doing, what he's trying to do, what it means. And what I'm trying to do is when he starts saying, we're going to do this, I'm thinking about what that means. Like if it was my business and I was going to open new locations, what does that mean to me? What does it look like? If I do an acquisition, what does that mean? And what is going to happen to him because he's doing it? And then I may talk a little bit about those strategies, right? Because the thing about this is, it doesn't matter what business is. It doesn't matter for-profit, non-profit, industry, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. So for you, I think you can start off, you guys are going to be like, go up and do this like tomorrow or whatever, and some of you may never do it, and some of you may pick and choose parts of it. But maybe you start getting comfortable, because for the first 2 or 3 years, I wanted to go in the middle. The butterfly. That's all I did. Or you may only do the one on the left and the right, strategic tactical. And your talk track is, look, we're going to come in, we're going to take your business, we're going to draw a line, we're going to talk to all your people, we're going to find out all the things that they do that are strategic, then we're going to find out all the things that we're going to do that are tactical that can be outsourced, then we're going to quantify all the people, technology, processes, and whatever, then we're going to come up with a number, and then we're either going to be more or less. And then it depends on how well you execute.
John, I'm going to ask a question of the group along what you just said. How many of you feel comfortable doing some of the, how many of you actually whiteboard today on an EO? Right? So how many of you really are going to feel comfortable? Be honest. Just a raise of hands. how many people are going to feel comfortable doing some component of this on an EO? All right, good. That's interesting. That's phenomenal here. So, leaders, you heard that. So now we get to watch and observe. See, right?
You know, what a lot of groups are doing is they're training, they're practicing. They get together like 2 or 3 DMs, and they go and they'll say, hey, you know, let's practice this one, and let's start doing it, and they'll pepper them with questions, and they do it over and over and over again, right, until they get comfortable with it. You could do that. Look, the reality is we're all somewhere between, you know, what the guys say, 19 and probably 50, I don't know, whatever years old, right? You guys only have so much time in the workplace left. Right? You could leave. You could go start over somewhere. You could do something different. Some of you will. Right? But the problem will follow you. If you're going to be in sales, and you can't connect with the C-level, and you don't practice your art of that, it doesn't matter where you go, where you work. You have an opportunity to take 3, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever it takes. Practice, get good, we'll provide you support, we'll provide you collateral, we're going to provide you tools, we're going to do all this stuff. But even if you just get good at the middle, or even if you just get kind of get there, or even if you just start asking the question about how do you make money, and you start practicing how you're going to sell the analysis, and explain why they should do it, and start working on that, and screw it up, it's okay. Right? You can always go back and demo. But if you start doing this and working at it, you can go into the stratosphere, you know, on your sales. And so that's the point is you got to try. You know, we got to help.
I completely agree 100% with one important facet here. Johnson guys have a means to the end. The 2 most important things in every sales process, I don't think the executive overview is really that important. You can't accept for one reason. It sells the analysis and the process. The analysis and the feedback sell your entire deal. You have to have leverage and information. If you get it, you decrease your discounting. You get buy-in across the board. You find out who the different types of buyers are. Get everybody engaged. Then you can decide what direction they're going to go from this type of slide. I just don't still not that low. I don't have intelligence, but the reality of it is it's the same thing. We were taught, the ones that have been around a little bit longer, we were taught to do an executive, you do buy-in, you do an analysis. Deborah's done this for years. You do an analysis, you do a feedback, and who's the most important person to help with that? Your SCs are sitting there in the back. So what you guys got to think about is sell the analysis. It sells your deal. And you have to do a feedback. If you don't do a feedback, you're dead in the water.
Can I add to that though? Because there's a term you use, Heidi, that I just love, and I think it dovetails with your comment. Can you share with us? Because you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta flush out, I call them the jive turkeys, and you gotta flush them out, because really, if you're getting enough teeth with your analysis and doing the due diligence, number one, people spend $20,000, $30,000 with consulting firms easily to get this type of analysis. So it really shouldn't be that hard to sell, to get the buy-in, to invest the time in the due diligence, because you're providing them with invaluable data and analytics on their business. So they should want to go through that process, whether it means a partnership further with ADP or not. And I think the other piece is, when you talked about the 2 differentiators of what we bring to the table that's different in the ADP process versus other vendors in the marketplace, there's a third thing that we bring that I don't think many other vendors can say, is that we go through this type of analytics and process with other companies in their industry. So we have external data and intel that we can share with them, you know, without compromising confidentiality of clients, but experience that we can share with them from other industries and practices that we're seeing that they don't have visibility to.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. The benchmarking data, you know, but it's, you know, I mean, when you do it right, when you do it well, they ask you how much it's going to cost to do the analysis. I don't know if you've ever had that, but yeah, they're like, okay, how much is this going to cost me? Right. They're talking about the analysis, not the solution.
Exactly. They're going to ask you how much an analysis is going to cost.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I add back to Tricia's point earlier? Your analysis with your SC, it's free, and you're getting your professional, the PHR, the SPHR, the CPPs, helping with this analysis. So it's another point of someone using the SC.
Can I
They're
challenge that with a
professionals.
different word? Ask them to invest.
Mhm.
Ask them to invest their time
Right.
and a process to make their business better. Use the word invest, it's not how much time it's gonna cost you, or how much it's gonna, what are you willing to invest to make your business better? We're willing to invest our time, and here's why we're willing to invest time. After this discussion I just had with you, I believe it's in our both best interest to get back together and to conduct this evaluation, whatever the moving parts are in the evaluation, because I believe you might be able to get to X and Y. If your organization is not willing to invest in that, we should probably shake hands and part ways. If you are willing to invest in it, here's what we're willing to do to help you.
Right.
Use the word invest. It's kind of like, if you guys ever called in profiling, if you call in and just blindly go, how many employees do you have, da, 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 da. Some people, like gatekeepers, they push back, right? It happens sometimes. So if you ever ask somebody to help you, and I'm looking for a little bit of help, your human nature is gonna be probably to help, even if you're an ass like me, but I'm probably gonna help you. If you say I need some help, what's help I'm doing now? Yes, it's the same premise. You're asking somebody to help you, I'm asking you to invest. If you're not willing to invest, then we're probably not gonna be good partners. Go ahead and call Clausen. There's plenty of cheap vendors out there. I'm sure they can get you kind of where you want to go.
And it'll probably no start when you don't find out that